So, a little bit about me. Brian Lipscomb, born and raised here on the reservation. My mom, tribal member from here, graduated from Dixon High School. Her mom was Laura Matt Morgeau, first elected tribal councilwoman to the tribal council at the agency. Big proponent of education. Her and my grandpa was Fort Belknap, met at the Jamal Indian School in Western Oregon. And from them I didn't get it was the classic story, you don't go there and get to talk your language. And for Grandma, I think she bounced around at a couple schools because they weren't keeping her corralled. But Grandpa was there longer and actually became an asset to the school in that they taught him building trades. And so at that time, you didn't learn electricity or you didn't learn drywall, you didn't learn plumbing, you learned it all. And so he then became the building manager at the agency. And was editor of their yearbook at Chemawa. But as a result of all of that, they were strong proponents of education. So thus, all of my mom's generation, so she's one of 4 girls. There was one boy, but he got killed in a tragic accident at the agency. But anyway, different story. They all ended up getting degrees, which was kind of unprecedented for women at the time. Right. Yeah. So they all went and got their college degrees. My mom in particular, she got on the train in Dixon, which at that time there was a passenger train there. Got on the train in Dixon and went to Philadelphia, downtown Philadelphia, graduating class of 6, and she leaves to go to Philadelphia to go to nursing school. Yeah, and that's where she met my dad. He was from West Virginia. Similar history. He was a hillbilly from West Virginia, and they lived back in the backwoods. And at the time, you were a coal miner or you were a farmer. And his dad died at 50 with a heart attack because he coal mined at night and farmed during the day and never slept. And so he had opportunity to go and make something different. So he did as well. So anyway, that's where they met in nursing school. And then ended up here, back here. And I was born here in St. Ignatius. Wasn't born there, but because Mom and Dad both worked at the hospital, so they had to go to Missoula to have me. And at the time, we lived in a little trailer house in Ravalli. But then shortly after that, we moved that trailer house to Mission Dam on the first home site that was created as part of the Mission Dam home site. So that's where I grew up, was in Mission Dam home sites. I remember as a kid going to the bus stop with 18 other kids, and we all loaded onto the bus from the project,
The projects.
So I tell people I ended up here from the projects. So born and raised there in St. Ignatius, graduated from high school there, and then went off to college because that's what we did. And it wasn't like it was a question, it was like expectation. And all of us in my generation of Grandma and Grandpa's kids also all have 4-year degrees, at least. And now beyond that, our kids are getting doctorates. And so my son has a doctorate in fisheries sciences. My niece is a medical doctor. My other nieces are masters in engineering. So those just some examples, but all of us have a college education. And I look back at that and think, it was not a forced upon us. It was just like an expectation that we would all go to school. So I have a degree in civil engineering from Montana State. And so when I was in high school and in junior high, very good with numbers. In fact, me and another kid were so good with numbers as freshmen in high school, we aced Algebra 1, and so the teacher told us to go to Algebra 2 the next year because we could handle it, skip statistics and geometry. We really didn't need that. Sure, okay. So we did that, got through. So we went to Algebra 2 with people that were 2 years older than us. What we didn't realize, though, is that messes up the whole sequence class-wise, and so we couldn't take the other classes in math, like geometry and calculus, because we were taking the advanced sciences, chemistry and biology and physics. And so they conflicted schedule-wise. So the whole curriculum was set up. You're supposed to go through it slow, and they all come together and culminate. Well, they pushed us ahead because we were good at math, me and this other kid. So the crazy part is I finished high school with only 2 years of math under my belt. But everybody said, you're good at math, because I was whipping through physics like it was no problem. And so I opened up the curriculums for Montana and basically went right over to the compensation side and said, okay, if I want to stay in Montana with the job, because at that point in time you couldn't find a job. Very few jobs on the reservation unless you want to go work in the woods, which I could have done, but I thought, it's not most people that I know working in the woods don't live a long time. So I thought, okay. So I went right down the list, and voila, there was electrical engineering. It was one of the highest paid professions, I think in the country, but at least state of Montana at the time. So, oh, okay, I'll do that. So signed off, and away I went to engineering school. But when I got there, I decided after the first year, I can't see electricity. So I'm going to go over here to the civil side. Plus, I had a job with the Forest Service. I got a job as a GS2. I don't think there were GS1s. GS2 civil engineer trainee right out of high school on the Lolo National Forest. So was able to go to school and work for the Forest Service and worked my way right through college that way. And spent my entire first, so that'd be almost 9 years of from 83 till 92, I was working on the Lolo National Forest as first a civil engineer trainee, and then when I graduated, I walked right into a full-time job. Bounced around. I started at 9 Mile at the ranger station there, and then a little bit of time in Missoula, and then after a couple of years out of college and working in Missoula, they promoted me to the zone engineer in Plains. So I moved to there, and I was 24 years old.
24.
Became a GS11 zone engineer at 25.
Wow.
And then we built a house. So first we bought a house in Arlene right when I graduated from college, and then we sold that, and we built a home in Plains because there was couldn't find one to buy. So I was around building all the time, and so I just figured out, asked lots of questions, and we built a house. And lived there for a couple of years, and then in 92, so I'd have been 27. I was watching the Charcusta News, and I see this fish and wildlife job, and I told my wife, I said, I think I could do that job. I said, but my real goal was to stay in western Montana and have a job, but if I could stay at home on the reservation and have a job, that'd be even more exciting. She says, well, see what happens. So I applied, and voila, got hired. Rhonda Sweeney and John Carter were on the interview team. Yeah, I remember interviewing, and they hired me and brought me back in 1992 as the division manager for Fish, Wildlife, Recreation, and Conservation.